So what are we going to do? Fortunately, St. Jude already told us what to do. Here it is. Jude chapter 1, verse 3. Dearly beloved, taking all care to write unto you concerning your common salvation, I was under a necessity to write unto you, to beseech you to contend earnestly for the faith once delivered to the saints. No matter if an angel descends from heaven, no matter if Pope Francis says whatever, Jude, the apostle, is telling you and telling me to contend. Jude is telling you to contend earnestly for the faith once delivered to the saints. Once delivered. The faith is delivered one time, and that one time happened when Jesus Christ, for 3 years, taught the apostles. He died on the cross. He descended to the dead. He rose on the third day, and he spent 40 days on earth teaching the apostles, equipping them, preparing them for the faith delivered once. It can't be given to you a second time in 2023. It can't be changed. It can't be manipulated. It can't be remixed. It can be clarified. They can't say marriage was always a man and a woman. Now it's a man and a man. No. It's the faith once for all delivered to the saints. Period. Close the book. It is done. The deposit of faith has been given. And that's it. What do we do if they roll out in your parish, women priests, women deacons, or they say, Adam and Steve, this Saturday are going to have their union blessed. Come on out. This is the spirit of surprises. We used to be against it. Now we're all for it. Are you going to say, well, Holy Spirit surprises us. I guess we Catholics were wrong for 1,990 years. We done messed up.
You done messed up, Aaron.
They had everybody fill out forms and surveys at the Synod of Synodality, and shucks, we were wrong all of these centuries. If your parish is given over to heresy, that's not the Catholic faith. It's no longer the Catholic liturgy. It is not Catholic. And this has happened before. I know it's kind of startling. You might think, oh my, am I ready for this? You are ready because you're going to contend earnestly for the faith. If it happens, see, the Holy Spirit can intervene. If it were to happen, and like under the Arian heresy, people woke up. Jerome says that the world awoke and groaned and found herself Arian. People who were good Catholics one day realized my pastor, my bishop is an Arian. He denies that Jesus is consubstantial, homoousios with the Father. My own bishop who baptized and confirmed my family, he is now denying that Jesus is fully God. This happened to people. It happened to thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people. What did they do? They contended for the faith. They rallied to the priests and the bishops who held firm. Even at that time, there was a pope named Pope Liberius. He is the first pope in church history to never be canonized as a saint, the first non-saint pope. Why was he not canonized as a saint? Pope Liberius never taught Arianism. That's not true. But he tolerated Arian heretics in the church. He received at least 2 of them in Rome. He was soft on Arianism. He could have been much stronger. His successors in the papacy were very strong. They condemned Arianism. Liberius was soft. That's why he's not Saint Liberius. He's just plain old Pope Liberius. In fact, Liberius even sent the champion of Nicene orthodoxy, Saint Athanasius of Alexandria, who contended for the faith. He said, no, homoousia, Christ is consubstantial with the Father. He went into exile 4 times, this holy bishop, Saint Athanasius, doctor of the church. Even went into exile under Pope Liberius. But Athanasius was correct. He was Orthodox the entire time, and he contended for the faith once delivered to the saints. No matter what happens, you contend. You hold to the one true faith. Get yourself the Catechism of the Council of Trent and read it every day. Pray the Rosary every day. If you can, attend the traditional Latin Mass. I challenge you. My Latin Mass challenge to all of you is to go to the traditional Latin Mass 4 times. The first time you go, you're going to be lost. You're going to be confused. You're going to be like, what is this all about? I'm not so sure. 4 times. Go to Latin Mass 4 times. And on the 4th time, it's going to start to seep into you and you're going to start to understand it. If you agree with me, go ahead and hit that like button. The fact of the matter is we've been living under a de facto schism for decades. There are clergy in the church, priests and bishops, who do not believe the same thing as me or Thomas Aquinas or St. Augustine or St. Paul or St. Peter. They believe that really everyone goes to heaven. Dare we hope that all men be saved. They believe that homosexuality is fine. They don't believe it's a sin. Some of them believe that if a priest molests a child, you can just move him around and cover it up. That there's no accountability for sin in the church because there is no hell. Some of them believe baptism does nothing. It doesn't remit original sin or regenerate, make a child or an adult born again. Some of them don't believe that going to confession for mortal sin is necessary. And this is why they don't offer confession that often in your church, because they really don't think it's necessary. You see, this is all a sign of the de facto schism. Or the priest I once met who was going to the mosque and attending the mosque and praying at the mosque. A Catholic priest. No priest in the before the 1960s would go and pray with Muslims at a mosque. There's a de facto schism already amongst us. We feel it. We know it. When you go to different churches, you notice it, you feel it. And I'm just here telling you, you're not crazy. I'm also telling you it's not your fault unless you've somehow contributed to it. But if you were born and raised a Catholic and you're trying to navigate your way to heaven through Jesus Christ, through the intercession of Our Lady and the saints and the 7 sacraments, and you're confused right now and you're troubled,
It's not your fault.
God chose you to be born in this time, to be a Catholic in this time. Father Charbel said, the saints in heaven are looking down, wishing that they could be saints in this time period. Why? Because this is a moment of glory. This is a moment of battle. St. Dominic is looking down thinking, man, I fought the Albigensians, but I want to be in that fight right now. I want to be in the 2023 fight. Thomas Aquinas says, man, I wrote a lot. I fought heresies. I clarified the faith. I want to be in 2023 fighting heresies and clarifying the faith. The saints earnestly contended for the faith, and we are called to earnestly contend for the faith. Who will be the St. Dominic of 2023 or 2024 or 2025 or 2030? Who is the next Thomas Aquinas? Who is the next St. Catherine of Siena writing letters to the Pope? Who is the next Padre Pio? Who is the next St. Therese of Lisieux, the little flower? Maybe if you're watching right now, maybe that's you. You get to fight in this battle. I was reading Maria Agreda, the mystic, the Spanish mystic, and I was reading about the flight into Egypt by Joseph, Mary, and the baby Jesus, and how on one night they were in a sandstorm, and on another night they ran out of food. They hadn't eaten until 9 p.m. And yet God, Maria Agreda explains, was giving them these deep hardships. We're talking about Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. It doesn't get any more holy and sanctified than those three. Jesus is God, Mary's the Immaculate Conception, Joseph is the most chaste spouse of the Blessed Virgin. Do they need to be sanctified anymore, Joseph and Mary? And yet God was bringing hardships into their life, and they were joyful, and they accepted it. And by that, they became even greater saints and closer to God. And I thought to myself, God is allowing this crisis in the church. He could make it go away, but he's allowing it to be extended so that we can be more faithful, we can have more hope, and we can love God even more. That we can contend more earnestly. We must contend, and it will make us more holy if we do it with joy, if we do it with faith, hope, and charity. We will fly to higher thrones, higher seats in heaven, a greater reward, a more earnest, well done, good and faithful servant, if by God's grace we can persevere and contend. And I got to say it one more time. You've heard me say it 100 times. I'm going to say it again. Do not leave the Catholic Church. I'll say it again in case people thought I stuttered. Do not leave the Catholic Church. There may be some disorganization, some chaos aboard Noah's Ark, but you don't jump off of Noah's Ark into the ocean because there's nothing out there for you to hold on to. You might think, man, the Ark is crazy. There's lions in here and it stinks and it's dirty. Do not jump off. Where are you going to go? You're going to sink to the bottom of the ocean. And by that I mean to the bottom of the abyss. Stay on the boat. Stay in the church. Do not leave the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. Well, yeah, Taylor, but what if there's like all this controversy and confusion with the papacy? There's been controversy and confusion with the papacy before for 70 years. The Great Western Schism. 70 years. Entire kingdoms didn't know who the right pope was. All kinds of confusion. You stay in the one true faith. Some people were tempted and they went and became Albigensi and Cathari. They joined sects, heresies, schisms, because things got tough. Do not do that. You stay in the boat. You stay in the boat. The Holy Spirit is going to sort it out.